All right, Panther people, what up? We're watching Dave Tepper right now, hopefully for the last time today, to introduce Dave Canales. He just interviewed Dan Morgan, just interviewed Brant Tillis, who's there with his wife. Yes, Brant Tillis' head is as large as I thought it would be, looking at the photos. So, giving you my live reaction. I'm watching it right now, and maybe pre-record this and put this a little bit later. But we got Dave Tepper talking right now. Oh, we got Brent Tillis. Oh, no. We got Dan Morgan walking up to the podium right now. Let's see what he has to say. Okay, so we got him and Dave Canales walking up to the podium. We got the same setup that we're kind of gotten used to now. Before it was Matt Rule, then it was Frank Reich. Now we got, at least for the first time ever, a GM and a head coach at the exact same time, Dave Canales and Dan Morgan. Let's see what they have to say. Audio is awful. To the three people here, what up? Watching Panthers Post here, Phil Perkins, watching the introductory press conference with Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. Looking sharp, wearing a black shirt, a black suit, black tie, white shirt, classic Carolina blue handkerchief. So Dan Morgan's talking right now. David and Nicole Tepper, it's been great working with you guys. It's going to get better and better. There's going to be a process. There's going to be alignment. Going to be a process. Alignment, key word. Right way to build a championship team. All right. Obviously, it's a great honor to be named the GM of the Carolina Panthers after playing here 7 years. Yeah, jack this audio. Come on, Panthers. Mike Tolbert. John Stewart in the building. Mushin Muhammad, obviously they're all here. Jonathan Stewart.
Doors are always
all right.
open.
Thomas Davis in the building wearing the tight, extra tight polo. Got a medium polo going on.
You guys are family.
But done with the past. Let's move on to the future, baby. I'm done with the past.
Not only on the field, but off the field.
Respectfully.
The type of character guys that we bring in are going to be guys that love football, play with passion, and play with the relentless pursuit of greatness.
So when they pick up guys, they want to love football, breathe football, relentless pursuit of greatness. That's what we all want. It's all about building culture.
Right now, he called me 14 years ago. He called me and he said, "I think you'd be a really good scout, Dan." And I didn't know if I wanted to do this or not, but 14 years later, here I am as the GM. So
Hell yeah, Dan Morgan. Make it count. Make the most of it, Dan Morgan.
He's a good talent evaluator. So I thank him. John Schneider and Pete Carroll.
John Schneider and Pete Carroll, shout out. Our two franchises are linked. It's crazy. It was also wild that me and my brother both like both teams.
Just a pro scout, driving guys to the airport, putting the work in. And John and Pete were just so great to work under. And, to be able to, for me and Dave, to be able to learn under them is just, you can't get that experience anywhere. So I want to thank them.
I mean, if we get even the 50% of the experience Seattle Seahawks fans have had, I'll take it. Won a Super Bowl, could have won back-to-back if it wasn't for that pick.
People that know how to put an organization
I'd take it.
Again, I can't thank them enough for everything they've done, and they've continued to help me to this day.
I gotta say, either Dan Morgan's massive or he has the tiniest piece of paper to write his notes, like this big.
I thank them enough for welcoming me in and my family in. They're the best. Just great people, just like Mr. and Mrs. Tepper. There's some great ownership in this league.
All right, great ownership. They said it. Shout out Scott Fitterer right now, bringing it back to Carolina.
Scott's one of my great friends, and I thank him for everything that he's done for me.
These are the tiniest piece of papers I've ever seen in my life. What up, hey people? Let me know your comments below. What do you think about the upcoming season? I know it's hope season. I know we're burned from last year, but how you feeling right now? Be honest.
Have had, and the hard work and the dedication, we wouldn't be where we were if it wasn't for the players. The players.
Dan Morgan's gonna cry. I think Dan Morgan's going to crack.
Thank everyone involved, player-wise, for being great and, you know, just kind of developing the relationships with them. I'd obviously like to thank my family, my wife Ashley.
Ashley, what up? Shout out Ashley.
My son Brady.
Brady?
My youngest Callie.
Yo, my hair's looking good today.
So much, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. All the hard work.
Way to dress up, everybody. Why is no one dressing up?
All the sacrifice, you know, Dad being at work and maybe missing some games.
That must be tough. So Dan Morgan talking about, wow, I got this red marker. Dan Morgan talking about how tough it is to be a kid of someone working in football, missing games. He must hate the fact that he's missing his kids' games.
Hard work, dedication, all those things that I carry with me to this day. I just want to thank them for always being there for me. Morning. Just what a moment of gratitude.
All right, Dave Canales talking now. Let's hear what Canales has to say.
This big, and of course for everyone who's watching, I think we can all kind of think about the people who believed in us first, gave us our first opportunity to show who we are, to express ourselves. And so first I want to thank David and Nicole for giving me this opportunity. This is a dream of a lifetime that Lizzie and I have had that goes back 20 years. And really, you know, the last 10 years really honing this opportunity.
They got to boost this audio, man.
Part of who I am.
It's in his DNA, baby.
So I want to thank you, Christy, as well. Just throughout the process, you know, it was. I learned so much just in those couple of days.
Best comment on the YouTube. Did I miss the trade that we traded our audio quality for picks?
Keep the focus on the things that are important and feeling what your vision is for this team and feeling that alignment that's happening with Dan and I.
Squad, how's my audio? Is my audio all right? Please let this be a new day of Carolina football. I've been around since day one. These last few years have been effing brutal. We need the old buyback. Keep pounding. I think he's going to try to bring it.
Way on the other side of the country.
The original comment was better. Ha ha.
Lizzie and the kids moved out last April. I didn't quite make it to my 1-year anniversary there, which would have been February 18th. So this part has happened really fast.
Why didn't anyone straighten this guy's tie?
I really want to thank the Glazer family.
Thank you. Appreciate it. How's my audio, though? Like me?
Jason Light, Todd Bowles.
Okay, I'm done with this thanking other teams thing. We're our team now. But I get it. They're doing what they're doing. And I was mistaken. It's not a Carolina Panther blue handkerchief. It's a Carolina Panther pin.
To formulate
Damn
football
straight.
DNA that wins 10 out of 13 years to the playoffs. I just coached in my 20th and 21st playoff games. These last past
Dropping out his resume right now.
And so I'm just really appreciative of Pete Carroll, who pushed me to.
A lot of love for Pete Carroll. Whoa! Ads.
At the wide receivers route. Open your eyes. What's happening with these combos? You see what the defense is doing? Did you notice we're playing a lot more of this coverage this camp? Open your eyes. Think bigger.
Think bigger? Okay. A lot of love for Pete Carroll in this. And as we've reported, and people have talked about, Pete Carroll's son, Nate, could be a part of this team as well.
I want to also just thank the players, the guys who really just did a fantastic job in it. And most recently, you know, Russell Wilson, Smith, Baker Mayfield, these guys that I got to.
Baker Mayfield, like Panther fans are going through memory lane right now.
To watch them grow as men, to watch them grow as football players. It's their fault that I'm here. And that's the bottom line. It's about the players.
It is about the players.
My family, just growing up in a family who's just a family of dreamers and self-starters in Carson, California, the Canales family, and then my extended family, the Hendersons, my wife's family, who we moved to in Seattle. We're with them for 13 years. How they walked the hard days, the frustrating days in the profession, the frustrating and hard days in our marriage and our family.
Whoa, okay, we're bringing up the marriage thing. I wonder if anyone's going to ask some questions about that.
Support, prayers, all of my family members and friends that have been supportive over the years. My kids, Ashby, Ben, B,
and
Amaya, who lend their dad to this profession for 6 months at a time. But we fight for each other. We fight for windows. We fight to connect, to listen to each other and to grow together. And finally,
all his kids look like him, FYI. Is this man going to cry? This man's going to cry. Okay, I like it.
It's really her fault. 20 years ago, I'm the head JV coach at Carson High School. Fired up. I'm so excited. We go to play Venice High School. It's my first game coaching. She's sitting up in the stands with about 35 crazy parents. And we got smoked 34-13 that day.
Remember that score. 34-13.
I had found it. I found my passion. And after 2 years of doing that, she comes to me and she knew all I wanted to do was be the head coach at Carson High School. That's what I wanted to do. Take it, get us back on top. Try to win championships and do all that. She said, hey, don't get me wrong. I love your dream. You're really good at this. I think you can go as far as you want, and I got your back. And I'll make it happen, whatever we need to do. And she did. And she worked 3 jobs at times. She told me the hard truths. And when I had problems with players or coaches, she said, you know what you need to do? You need to sit down and have those conversations. And she's just been everything to me. This is our journey. This is our dream. And we've been so excited and prepared for this opportunity.
Wow.
So thank you, and I love you, babe. So that's just kind of the journey. How I got here, started off with the dream in high school, and that turned into junior college. And
so we're basically just getting literally an introductory press conference for Dave Canales. Talking, he gets choked up talking to his wife, talking about how he started coaching at Carson High School. That was his dream, and then his wife was there. They got smoked 34-13. Remember that score? That better not be the score. Game 1 with the Carolina Panthers. But then he said this is their dream. His wife worked 3 jobs at one point when he was trying to make things work.
Well, if you can sit at that same porch, you'll watch the world go by. Watch the NFL world come through, the trends, the changes, the players, the generations of players, how to communicate, all happen in one place, in one city. For me, just was a recipe for forming a really solid identity and a belief in a way to win.
This man has a gift for the gab. Yay. Get on our show.
Unfortunately, take that to Tampa last year and to show what can happen. Not what can't we do, but what can we do? Who are our guys? And how do we build an offense around these people? And I'm excited.
Gosh, I really feel the way they talk. They said this in the press conference too, making the best of the people that you have. Oh, it doesn't mean they're not going to do anything.
And I'm so excited to do it with Dan, with Brant, with Mr. and Mrs. Tepper, and all of us in the building, really.
I mean, shout out respect to the Teppers. They love the Teppers. They're doing something right. Just got to say it.
This is about them. This is about building a place for them to thrive. And so I'm excited to be here and to do this with you, Dan.
Likewise. Just kind of wanted to talk about like the type of players.
Ooh, talking about the type of players. All right.
DNA-wise, first of all, we need to find those leaders.
Competitors.
As Jay Stu would say, those dogs.
Dogs.
Guys that are passionate about football.
Yo, Dan Morgan's eyes, he's got crazy eyes. He's got crazy. I would not want to mess with this guy.
We need competitors. We got to bring that back here.
What did I say in previous episodes? Panthers are fake tough. They got fake dogs on that team. There's no dogs. Very few dogs.
That the fans can be proud of. That our players can be proud of. Like when teams drive up to this stadium, we want them to fear that logo. The logo has to be feared again. Because right now, it's not feared. We got to get that back. But I think it starts with getting the right type of players.
Yo, Dan Morgan sounds like a content creator right now, saying that when opposing fans drive to Bank of America Stadium, he wants them to fear the Panthers logo. Right now, it is not feared at all. Truth. This is true. It's goofy now. Change it.
Like Steve Smith, play with a chip on your shoulder. No holds bar.
Oh, they're getting Xavier Legette. They're drafting Xavier Legette. They want a Steve Smith. They want someone who plays violent like a dog. That's that. He's spitting fire right now, Voodoo Child. Thank you for joining me here and the other 9 people here on the stream.
We need competitors like Jake Delhomme.
Okay, they're just naming guys from the past. I get it. He just said need competitors like Jake Delhomme. I know Bryce has that. We've seen him get fired up with the incompetence on the field and off the field.
I remember in 2003, we had our playoff game here. And I remember those towels out there, the white towels waving around. that's my dream for this organization. I was talking to David about that today, and we need to get that excitement back here. And that's
they want the excitement. Winning will do it. Winning solves everything. All this nice talk from Dave Canales talking about his journey, Carson High School, all that. At the end of the day, if you don't win, you're just Matt Rule again. You're just a used card salesman, but you went to do some CrossFit. That's it. It's all about wins, baby. I don't care what you have to say. Let's do it. It's good now. But let's try to get wins.
That our players have every resource at their disposal. That they come in here and they got a plan for their body. They got a
plan for their body. I wonder if his wife will join the team in strength and conditioning coach. She's a CrossFit gym owner.
Everything when our players come in and say, "How can I help you? How can I serve you?" That's the type of place that we have to be. It definitely speaks to the coaching staff being developmentally minded.
They're going right to their game plan. I love this. They're just preaching. They're preaching, but they're also giving their plan because they know fans are watching right now on the Panther Stream. 1,800 people watching.
Championship days, and that's got to be a full-on commitment every single time we walk in here.
You know who's the most committed? Bryce. He's a football guy. You don't say anything else. If he's not playing football, he's playing basketball down in Charlotte. He's still in Charlotte. He didn't move out to California. He's the guy to make it work.
We all speak the same language, and we're heading in the same direction with that alignment that we talked about. I'm so
alignment again. Take a shot.
Culture is what you celebrate. Culture is also what you condemn, and you say, "This is a horrible looking play. Look what happened right here, guys. Boo this man, please, somebody." And then, like, at the same time, finding great opportunities from practice, from games, to celebrate it. That's how you create culture. And I'm really excited to be able to.
I love how they're not even taking questions right now. They're just spitting, as Voodoo said.
Let's just make it about
spitting their plan, their blueprint.
There's no agendas. It's about good football. We got to play good football on both sides of the ball. Be willing to look at it truthfully and improve, and take the next step and improve and capitalize on these moments to just.
Sorry, I should have a table to put this iPad, so I'm not looking at the side.
If we go after it,
I'm just gonna do this. There it is. Now you can probably hear it better.
I always say, guys, just get better the next day. Do that.
Someone said on the YouTube stream, "Damn, I'm ready to die for Dan and Dave." I'm ready to fight.
And for me, it's this simple. How do we do that? It's our football philosophy here. It's all about the ball.
All about the ball, baby.
Crazy about getting the ball on defense.
Crazy about
getting at the quarterback when we're sacking the quarterback. Every tackle has got to be an opportunity to get this ball back. Offensively, everything we do from the protection calls all the way to how we carry it to our receivers transitioning and the quarterback, the decisions, all is about taking care of the ball.
Take care of the ball, baby. Turnovers. Baltimore Ravens, what up?
That's it.
Detroit Lions, what up? Ball security, baby.
One turnover better than our opponent. Look what we can do. We'll set ourselves up for success. And that's, if I could make it that simple, what if I told you in the wild card round that the quarterbacks and teams that didn't turn it over won the game?
What did I just say?
It was as simple.
What did I just say?
Even talking X's and O's and what the style and philosophy of our offense.
Turnovers, baby.
If we make it about
looking at Bryce.
We can go as far as we
Bryce had a couple. Not that much. Definitely could have had more, but got to hold on to that ball, Bryce. I think they're going to make it easy for him. Just got to get us some targets and get some protection up the middle.
Yeah, we'll open it for questions. So if you would,
getting questions. Don't cut them short this time, Panthers.
Microphones that we'll pass around.
Hopefully these mics actually work.
We'll call on you, or we'll pass to you. So please raise your hand. We'll give you the mics. Introduce yourself with your name, your affiliation, and we'll go from there. So our first question will come from Steve Reed, followed by Carla Gephardt.
Who the hell? Oh, okay.
Hey guys, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. Dave, certainly.
Associated Press gets the first question.
Congratulations on your promotion. I think you got answered all our questions in your preamble there. But listen, I think fans want to know. You know, it's been 6 years since this team, been to the playoffs. It's been 8 since they've won a playoff game.
Woof.
What do you feel like is the blueprint to get there? And second,
just ask the same question that they just answered.
Importantly, how long do you think it'll take?
Ooh, how long do you think it's going to take to actually win?
I think it's about alignment and process.
Alignment. Take a shot
We got to have
of
process
espresso.
in place, and we got to be aligned in our building, and we're all moving towards the same direction, and that's towards a championship. So, to put it simply, I think that we just have to. We got to roll our sleeves up, and we got to get to work. And we got to find the type of players.
Roll our sleeves up, get to work. Type of players that we talk about. Competitive leaders, dogs.
Get winners in this building.
So get some dogs on defense, dogs on the line.
Today, let's have a great interaction here. Let's start
Bourbon
talking
time.
about what football you can expect out of us. And so today, this looks like a win for me, and that's just the way I think. Just approaching every single day. It's 1st and 10. I got a new set of downs. My whole call sheet's at my disposal, and got a bunch of fantastic people to go to work with today. It looks like putting a great staff together for me right now.
The commercial. So Canales showing his now renowned positivity. I don't know why coaches wouldn't want to be positive.
Questions for Dave. You mentioned your experience with quarterbacks.
Yeah, Bart.
I want to know how that experience might help continue to develop Bryce Young in his second year.
All right, second question is about Bryce. Let's go. Name him.
Details, first and foremost. It all starts off with relationship. Bryce and I just getting to know each other. I wanted to know that I have his best interest at heart. I want him to be the best possible version of himself. That's the same approach that I've taken since I've been coaching positions in the NFL, and that's really the approach I want to take with him. Some of the other things that kind of come to mind thinking about the quarterbacks that I've worked with over the last couple of years is we are going to become what Bryce is great at in the pass game. We're going to grow to the capacity that he can handle. There's got to be a commitment and a discipline about that. There was a growth curve there with Baker. Here's where we're at today. Based on the information we have, let's get into these situations to see where he looks most confident when I see that back foot planted in the ground and that ball rips out of there without any hesitation. I know he's got something. Let's find more of those. Let's put it in 3 different personnels and a couple formations and motions.
All right, so Bryce Young, he wants to make him the best version of himself and give him what he's the best at. To highlight what makes him great.
This job attractive, and secondly, what were your thoughts coming to an organization?
Okay, David, no. Ask the question, but yeah, so I'm trying to make Bryce the best he can and work on his strengths, what made him great, and work on that.
We never were anywhere close to touching the first overall pick. And the more that I got ready for this interview and started watching Bryce, looking at my notes from his eval, I mean, that's just a year ago. You know, we're evaluating.
Talking about his evaluation of Bryce last year when he was in Seattle.
With all the information that we could, I just got more and more fired up about the opportunity to have this amazing talent. And he's the guy. He's the right guy that we all talk about. A lot of key
words we like to hear.
We have that quarterback, that franchise, face of the franchise type of player. And that got me really excited. And then just on top of that, you know, I played against the Panthers twice, and the job that E.J. Evero did with the defense was really hard to deal with. Great sound football, playing hard, great players in some spots.
Talking E.J. up, E.J. Evero talking him up. Keep him on the staff. Well, you have no choice on our contract, but don't let him go. Don't let him go to Washington.
With a successful organization, there's a dynamic relationship between the head coach and the GM. And then, of course, as I've gotten to meet the Teppers, too, to feel their competitive nature.
They are competitive, all right. They're fiery.
What they want to see when they come out to the practice field, and just kind of knowing I can be that without faking anything, without having to make something up. I just felt more and more like this was going to be a great home, and I was really.
So talked about when he was time in Seattle scouting Bryce Young and learning more about Bryce Young. They say they didn't even have to scout Bryce Young because they weren't getting the first overall pick with the Seattle Seahawks because they're a consistent winner. And he's fired up to be with this guy. He thinks he's the right QB for this team, which is important.
Talking about today, I want to win today, and so for me, coming into this situation,
this guy loves Bryce as much as Teppers do. That's what I'm getting right now.
Look at what we have. What can we do? Not what can.
Also, just realize he kind of looks like Cristiano Ronaldo. Is that Cristiano Ronaldo or is that Dave Canales, head coach of Carolina Panthers?
Charlotte Observer. I've got one for Dan and one for Dave.
One for Diane.
Dan, for yourself, I just wondered if you can talk about. You said you need more dogs, more good players. What that looks like specifically, like where you think this team is lacking and where you want to build it. And then Dave, I just wonder if you could talk specifically about, as a play caller, what you try to do, because you sound very passionate about that.
Another thing that I really like is that he heard what the Teppers want when they get on the practice field, and thing that Canales said that he doesn't have to fake being fired up. He just is fired up. He's Pete Carroll 2.0.
It starts with competitors, guys that are passionate about football. We want to draft guys and sign guys in free agency that are passionate about football, that love football.
If you're not passionate, get out.
We have a lot of guys
Basically.
in the locker room right now that love football and are passionate, but we need to get more.
Got to get more guys.
You know, the dog part of it, we need guys that are hungry to go out there.
Bro, Dan Morgan's going to cry too. He is so jacked. I think he wants to hit the weight room like after this.
Toughness. We need physicality.
Ike Kwanu, he doesn't get his butt kicked.
I
mean,
That guy used to be a road grader in the draft,
we
a
have
dog,
enough of
and
that,
now
and
he's a
that's gonna be
puppy.
our DNA,
He's a Shiba Inu.
where
Come on.
When people drive up to Bank of America Stadium, they know they're in for a dog fight. So that's what we want to create here.
Got some sound bites.
Play calling, just thought process there. Like, you know, we ended up becoming us. That's one of the things I was really proud of, is just kind of looking at, like, what run game fits us best. What's the best thing for Chuba?
Name drops Chuba. So
you know, with
I don't know if they're playing mind games here, but Chuba seemingly RB1. We already know that Buddy didn't play great, Miles Sanders, but Dave Canales just name dropping Chuba. Like, what's going to work for Chuba?
And beat a really good team in the wild card round and give the Lions a run for their money there. That's a really good team, a great environment and challenge for us there. And there were a couple games that got pretty hot there. You know, this is my first time around, so I'm really excited to see the growth there too. Some people in the building that we have who have done it at a high level for a long time. You know, Jim Caldwell being one of those.
Shout out Jim Caldwell. He's going to be a big asset on the offense.
An eye for this whole
But stay out of Bryce's brain. Only need one voice.
For my growth.
All I need is one mic. One mic.
As Colin plays, and the mentality.
That's when my rap repertoire kind of ends, like 2005.
And just having that variety, having the marriage of the run and pass.
Marriage.
Things that start.
Someone's going to ask him about his marriage.
You know, to have those nuances in plays and utilize my staff so I can have good information on game day.
Dave, are there particular things you recall about Dan as a young scout in Seattle, his first, you know, entry into that part of the profession, and how do you guys plan to create kind of that John Pete dynamic?
Oh, question here about
well, we were about
Dan Morgan.
1 or 2 doors apart.
Dan Morgan, young Dan Morgan, the scout,
there.
little smart there.
A little bit of a
He's got some skeletons.
crazy loud hallway for us, and but you know what I remember about Dan in those times is just his conviction, his belief. Actually, I'm sure you have a hard time, you know, thinking that he had an opinion about stuff. But right off the bat, you know, just as a former player, he comes in and is like, he could just see it.
Man.
He could just tell what a
delivered. Will Dave Canales deliver?
I wasn't, by no means was I an expert at that time, but I just, you know, I have a high value of my ability to evaluate, and Dan always had his opinions, and it was very clear thoughts that he felt strongly about. So that impressed me early on. And as we grew to get to know each other, it was just kind of like he was such a natural in this world of evaluating players.
All right, so he's evaluating. Then Brent Tillis, buddy tap, and then you got Brent Tillis, who is the cap guy. See how that works out together. Is he going to get his own press conference? Is he going to come up and talk? We'll find out.
How much of that and how you guys wanted to restructure the front office and build Dave's staff has to do with last season when there were lots of reports of factions among the staff and even going all the way up to ownership?
I think it has to do everything with just moving forward.
All right, so Joe Person being the journalist that he is, trying to get to the bottom of it. How are they going to have alignment, not just between these two guys, between everybody talking about the snitches at Bank of America Stadium?
Same mission, same vision. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about alignment. The whole building has to be on the same page. If we want to win, we all have to be on the same page.
It does seem like the whole building's on the same page, because when Dave Canales and Morgan walked into the lobby, everyone was fired up. Did they have a gun to their back? I don't know. But everyone seemed to be on the same page and wanted the same thing.
Plain and simple.
Dave, you mentioned Pajero. What's your confidence level? Is the defensive staff going to be back intact?
Oh my gosh! I mean, just the respect factor that I have going against them. I know the scheme going against it. I'm really excited to learn more about the ins and outs as far as how the calls come in, the adjustments and all that. I just know it was really difficult on me for years, whether it was in Seattle going against the Rams and that family, or this year just going against EJ twice. So, and this is really important for me, especially as a first-time head coach who's like, I'm here to make sure we get our football right, especially.
So asking if he wants to keep a Jerry Evero. Okay, continuity. So looks like he wants a Jerry Evero to stay. Does Jerry Evero want to stay?
Have the mentality that I saw that was really challenging to play against.
Okay, without saying yes or no,
This is, you know,
it seems like his priority is to keep EJ and the defense staff here.
What we're doing.
Dan, you right here in the third row, you mentioned other people telling you that you were a good talent evaluator. When did you realize that was where maybe your plan was after playing?
You know, I think once I got done playing, you know, you're always, you know, as a former player, I know a lot of guys here, like, you try to figure out what is the next step. Who am I? Because you reach your goal at such a young age, and then you're left retired, and you're like 30 some years old, and you're like, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? It's not like you can go in the corporate world or just go somewhere and get a job. So for me, it was about getting back into what I knew best, which was football. To start out in Seattle and learn out there from some of the best, one of the best GMs in the NFL, and then to continue that.
Funny story. I was in Nashville watching Titans Seahawks, and we're at a nice barbecue spot downtown Nashville. And my brother and I are sitting down, and who do we see? John Schneider eating a whole plate of barbecue by himself. He said he was there for the Vanderbilt-Alabama game. Who was playing in that Alabama game? Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Crazy.
Dave, welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
Quick question for each of you. I'll start with you, Dave. You mentioned a little bit of analytics when you went into talking about the plus 182% for a win. We all obviously know the turnaround that Russ, Gino, and Baker have done. How do you plan to implement those resources and those analytics when analyzing Bryce's trajectory and the potential that he could be?
Okay, another Bryce question. Good. Keep it going.
Into the details on that. I watched a good amount of Bryce going into the interview process, but right now I'm going back through the games, kind of looking at the story of the season, and the
not a good story, Dave. Spoiler alert.
So, speaking about a specific plan there, there's a bunch of critical variables. I don't want to get too much into the football philosophy at this point, but just know, it starts with the ball for me. There's a way to win games in the NFL. It's defense, it's run game. It's an
defense, run game, ways to win in the NFL.
Run game, and then in the
pass off the run game.
Ball out in 2.7 or less. That's a critical deal for me.
So he says critical deal for him. Get the ball out in 2.7 seconds or less. So you got to be confident. Meaning you got to get separation quickly. Meaning you got to scheme that separation quickly, or they have to do it themselves. So I don't know if you can do that with this personnel, but that's up to Dan Morgan now.
As we go through the season.
And this one is for you. Bringing Dave in and having the conversations to bring Dave in. He's currently the only.
Oh my gosh, commercials. All right. Gonna skip it. 3, 2, 1.
Talk me through that thought process of that representation for a large fan base that is quickly growing year by year as well.
First of all, diversity is a big part of what we do here with the Carolina Panthers.
Talking about diversity? Okay.
Dave just happened to be Mexican, American, and, also a really good coach and a really qualified coach. So I'm really happy that he's here with us, and, we're really blessed to have him.
Basically just said, did him being a Mexican American have anything to do with the hiring process and, representing a fan base that is growing ever so much in Charlotte? And he just said he's a great coach, just happens to be Mexican.
Successful with Baker Mayfield. You also had a very tall quarterback with Geno Smith. Is there a special way to coach shorter quarterbacks under 6?
Talking about Bryce's height. What is this? The draft 2023? Come on, guys.
There are certain challenges. I'm not going to go and tell the whole NFC South what those advantages are. I think that's kind of a proprietary deal that we're going to own here. But I will say that there are just certain things you can do to help. There are ways to find what that quarterback's comfortable seeing. You got a guy like Drew Brees, who's about my height, which is still short in terms of a 6'7" tackle. So whether you're 5'11" or whether you're 6'1", you can't really see over any of the linemen. So there's an approach to it. And at the end of the day, it's about decision making.
So he kind of hit that on the head, saying, yeah, Bryce Young is short. Like, literally, physically speaking, if you're 6'1", 5'11", you're literally not going to be able to see over a 6'7" tackle. So there's got to be ways to work around that. It's about call play.
Dan, for you first. Congratulations to you both, by the way.
Stand out, Kyle Bailey.
Seems rather significant to be bringing over a guy who's been a part of multiple Super Bowls and great conference championship trips. What impact do you envision him having and your working relationship? What does that look like? And then for you, Dave, a lot of guys in your position, after just a year of calling plays, successfully albeit, might decide, hey, one more season, 2 more seasons.
Kyle Bailey asked you why you want to jump on it now instead of going back to Tampa another year.
That now was the time for you to become a head coach, or was it as simple as this was your only offer?
Whoa!
I think having Brand here, it's really a blessing for us to have somebody with the knowledge that he has, how smart he is, how good of a person he is.
So they basically, I think he's asking Dave Canales, like, hey, why'd you take this? Like, what made you want to come here? Is it, what made you want to come here? Or is the fact that this is the only job you got to offer and that's why you took it?
You know, kind of work side to side with him. That's invaluable. So I'm super excited.
Invaluable. I could say it, but I can't read it.
All these coaches' contracts off my plate too, because I've been having to do that before he got here. So I'm ready to hand that off to you now, Brant.
He's been crushing it too, by the way. So for me, this is a dream come true. I think the part that I kind of feel a little bit compelled to say is I'm 42 years old. My wife and I have been together for 20 years. I spent 14 amazing years with an incredible, one of the greatest football coaches of all time, in Pete Carroll. So I got to sit there and just really just like formulate my plan and just wait for that opportunity to come along. And I just was like,
this guy's a ham it up for the camera
my wife
view.
and I just kind of thinking like, we're ready for this, you know, lead self, lead others, lead organizations. And that's been an approach and a mentality that I've had for a while.
So weird to see this guy as a head coach. Not gonna lie, he is so young. Not as young as Mike McDonald, who's 36, youngest head coach in the NFL, but his energy is young. He talked about how he's with 14 years with Seattle Seahawks, and he's been there for a long time. And this whole time that he and his wife been together since they were 22, just formulating their plan. He literally did this hand motion.
Between ownership, front office, and coaching staff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a strong bond. It's going to be a daily communication.
Daily communication with ownership. Yay.
Ownership between the head coach, and it's just alignment on the roster. It's alignment on just everyday thinking. Like, what are we about? What's the vision? Are we doing the best thing?
Hey, they're not cutting anybody short.
To reach that vision and that mission every single day. So it's just constant communication. And it's just being aligned in everything we do down to the detail.
Maybe. Does it have to be the detail? That's it.
All right, Mike Solarte, Spectrum News 1. Dave, welcome to the Carolinas. Dan,
Thanks, Mike.
Congratulations. It's been a journey. You guys talked about alignment and everything else, but you're both on a similar, I guess, timeline in your careers. Are you guys feeling any amount of pressure to try to bring this team back to where you wanted to go, Dan? I mean, you were part of a Super Bowl team, and Dave, I know you want to follow in those footsteps.
No pressure, but a lot of hunger. Like a lot of hunger to be great.
Okay.
A lot of hunger to get this.
Dan Morgan says not a lot of pressure to win, but there's a lot of hunger to win.
Which is back in the playoffs.
So I guess the pressure means pressure from Dave Tepper, which we know they're going to
year
get.
after year. So there's a urgency with that that we're striving towards every single day.
Can I say I'm nervous? Is that all right? I mean, you know, to be honest, you know, just getting this opportunity, and I've got a ton of excitement about it. I got a lot of things that I'm ready to put to the test, and that's been a lot of theory, you know, from a leadership standpoint. But yeah, this is a big task. This is serious for me. This is a great opportunity. And so I don't take that lightly, but at the same time, you know, like Dan just hit, like I'm fired up about it. And I love a great challenge. And I didn't shy away from the Tampa job. And there was a lot of people that kind of looked at that and thought, like, what are you thinking? You got a great situation with Geno in Seattle. And I just was like, I'm going to bet on us. And I'm going to look at what we do have and see if I can make the most of it.
I hate when they say that. What we do have. Okay, you didn't have Tom Brady.
Really overachieved, and
But
I just hate that term.
you had some great skill players for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? What you have in Carolina, you don't have great skill, but you got to get better. I hope they need to improve. I just feel way too many. I'm seeing way too many excuses. A little bit. Maybe that's just me being paranoid.
Michael said, Fox Charlotte. Dan, at the moment, you guys do not have a first-round draft pick. How
Talk
high
about the first-round draft pick
on the to-do list to get one?
It's not really high. I mean, we have the 33rd pick, which, you know, is essentially a late first-round pick. We're just going to draft good players. And, you know, hopefully at 33, I think there'll be a good player there. You know, if we choose to move back, if we choose to move up, you know, that's to be seen.
Draft time.
But we're going to plan. We're going to have a plan, and we're going to execute on that plan.
All right. So it doesn't look like Dan Morgan and company are going to try to move up in the draft. They might, if anything, move back to get more players.
Dave, welcome. Dan, again, thank you so much for taking the time.
This journal's got the old
Dave,
pencil in the ear.
You have shown that you are enthusiastic online and are willing to engage with the fan base.
Talking about Dave Canales' Twitter game.
When did that start? Is that going to continue? And why do you think that's important?
I think what's important to me is that we all grow to have a relationship. And as we have a chance to get into more detail about what we're looking for from a football standpoint, my hope is that I can show you what to look for and what we're going to try to become. From a philosophical standpoint,
gosh.
of course,
Mr. Jerem, record prediction for the Panthers with Canales as head coach. Well, wait, let's see what he has to say, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
And I say, this is who we're going to be, that we're able to have this relationship where, like, you keep me accountable on this. You said we're going to play this brand of football. You guys are crazy about the ball. We had 3 turnovers last week. We were -2 or we were -3. And I'll be able to say that's a great point. That's not the kind of football we want to play. So my hope is that we can kind of grow in that relationship as we have that expectation.
I'm not going to make any predictions, but I'm going to be selling low this year. Last year really effed me up in terms of the offseason and the hope and everything that was sold to us by the team.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank everybody. They're all walking away now.
Being here. Now we would ask at the TVs if you would make your way down the hall. We have an opportunity for one-on-ones with our head coach
doing one-on-ones.
and general manager. And for our working writing press, if you would make your way to our media workroom, we'll have some player availability.
Oh, player availability.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's that. So Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, they just finished their introductory press conference with the media. They talked for about 41 minutes. That's pretty good. Brent Tillis did not talk. He just got into the building, so it makes sense they're not talking yet. So for my record predictions, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to go there because we don't know who they're picking up in free agency. As is, I don't know what scheme alone could do. You're not going to make Icky somehow regress positively yet. I don't know what you're going to do to increase. Guys like DJ Chark. Is he going to get even faster? I don't know. In terms of record predictions, as is, maybe 4 games. But I think with an improved roster, some free agency, the way I like the formula I like, and is you pick up interior offensive linemen in free agency if you can. We see Kevin Zeitler it could be potentially available from the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we saw what they could do in the playoffs. As Dave Canales mentioned, Bryce Young is shorter. He's sub 6 feet. Physically speaking, he will not be able to see over a massive offensive lineman. And so you need to improve the middle of the offensive line. So center, guards. And so whether that's picking them up in free agency, that would be my ideal, is to pick them up in free agency and then even double dip in the draft. Even if it means trading back from 33 to maybe not that far back to try to get 2 seconds or 2/3 or something like that. So you could pick up a wide receiver lineman, or wide receiver lineman, wide receiver, something like that. I think if you improve it there and you maybe get a free agent pickup in terms of wide receiver, whether it's a T. Higgins, but I have this weird feeling because of their cap space and the excitement. I could see T. Higgins, it's going to stink, but with the Houston Texans, I could see that happening. So whether you're picking up a Hollywood Brown or Paris Campbell from the Indianapolis Colts, and then partnering them up with a rookie or two, I could see that happening. Seeing a lot of love for Ladd McConkey out of Georgia being the Panthers pick at 33. I don't know about that. There's a couple guys who probably still be available. Troy Franklin out of Oregon, and Burner there. So if you add some pieces, yeah, I could see the Panthers get up to maybe 6 wins, a respectable, hard-fought 6 wins with a couple games here or there. That could have been one-score games. Things could have been a little bit better if something were not to have happened. Let's see what Risky Lou has to say. We need better plays and improve roster, man. I do trust the process, and I think hopefully David Tepper trusts the process as well, because they give this man a 6-year deal, and hopefully it's not a 6-year deal where after year 2, and instead of 10 wins, we'd like to see it's more like 5 or 9, maybe not 5. If it's 9 wins, that Canales and company are seeing the door. Hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully we see this through. The guy's 42 years old. He's the first-time head coach in the NFL, but he says that he's been formulating his plan. That's how he did it. That's how we did it when he was asked the question about, why he took this job now. He says he's ready for it. We'll see. But hopefully they trust the process. And I know, people who are 76ers fans probably hate that idea, but he said one of the big reasons why he's with this team is Bryce Young. And he scouted him when he was with the Seattle Seahawks, even though they knew they weren't going to have a chance to get him. And he loves him. And that's what you need. You need a guy who loves this guy. He's not taking the job because he wanted to be a head coach and he'll just deal with the stuff that he has. That is Bryce Young. He actually wanted to come here because Bryce Young was a big part of it. Christine Balboni, welcome back after your health scare. He said one of the big reasons why he chose this team and chose this job, sure, it was the only team that offered him a job, but Bryce Young was a very big part of this. It's not just I'm going to take this team, and then once I get into Bank of America Stadium, I'm going to ask Dan Morgan, hey, can we trade back into first overall pick and get Caleb Williams? I don't think that's the case. I think he truly does like Bryce Young and wants to work with him, make him the best that he can be, because that'll make him look amazing. Cesar Arasso says, just saw the live press conference. It sounded really good. It did sound pretty good. Like, obviously, everything in the offseason is going to sound good. We were bamboozled last year. So I am going to be holding off my enthusiasm for now. I'm even going to be holding off my enthusiasm during training camp. I'm just going to wait till week 1, whoever they're up against. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to try to enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy the sound bites. There's going to be a lot of sound. It was tough to find sound bites with Frank Reich. I said it when they hired him that he's kind of like blah. And I think it's going to be fun with Canales. So we can do like a whole channel, just Canales clips. Team Nick 843 says, can Bryce get a real fair shake if most of everybody involved is getting Bryce was fired? What? Can Bryce get a real fair shake if most of everybody involved in getting Bryce was fired? Yeah, I think so. I think Dan Morgan's still in the building. Obviously, Dave Tepper is still in the building, and I think that's what you need. You need ownership to love this person. We see what happens when an ownership does not love a quarterback. We saw with the Miami Dolphins how they had googly eyes for Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson, and they weren't totally into Tua Tagovailoa, and you can see it. And we'll see if they are all in on Tua when they want to pick up his 5th round option and try to sign him to an extension potentially. We'll see. But ownership loves Bryce. Dan Morgan loves Bryce. He got a coach. One of the big reasons why he's here is because of Bryce. And so this is a make or break for everybody, 100%. Like if Bryce, who this entire offseason, it should have been last season, but this entire offseason is geared towards his growth. He has a quarterback guru type head coach who's young, fired up, California guy just like him, wants to make him the best that he can be. You got Dan Morgan, who made him part of the draft. He was part of the team that drafted up for him. They're going to be picking up. They learned what Bryce needs from last year because he didn't have it. He didn't have a strong interior offensive line. He didn't have strong skill position players around him. He had the strong defense. So if they build those things around Bryce this offseason, they get him the offensive lineup, they get him the skill position players, and they get him the scheme with the coach who improved, literally made Geno Smith the comeback player of the year, got him paid. Baker Mayfield was a nominee for a comeback player of the year. He's potentially going to be getting paid. If Bryce can't make it happen with this surroundings, that's when people start looking at the 2025-2026 draft to see what they can do. It could pull a Josh Rosen and figure it out. And then I don't know what I'm going to have to do with that jersey. But it pressures on Bryce as well. I think he knows it. So thankfully, he's got a God-fearing man as a head coach. He's got a psychologist as a dad and a loving mom as well. I think he's going to be just fine. I think we're just not used to things being just fine because it's been so long. But since we've seen, good quarterback play. Will, 2007 says, I really love this hire. I feel like we could be a coach for the next 5 years. I'm not going to get my hopes not high because every year I get excited and then we're trash. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Imagine if they did this, though. So everyone was ripping the Panthers for picking up Dave Canales because, we were the only team that offered him a job. He eventually got the job because he was the only one. He's like, oh, we're getting pushed to the side by Ben Johnson again. Imagine they waited for Ben Johnson. And then Ben Johnson did what Ben Johnson did last year, saying, I'm staying in Detroit. So now who you got? And then Mike McDonald quickly goes to Seattle Seahawks, one of the better job openings out there, a more attractive job than the Carolina Panthers, even with Geno Smith as the quarterback there. They can still draft him this year, though. And then who are we waiting for? Todd Monken? Dan Quinn? Washington Commanders still don't have a head coach. Everybody and their mom. They even said on the broadcast, 57 million people watching. looking at Ben Johnson saying that he's going to Washington most likely. Bet he's not. And who would you want to be the head coach? It probably would have been Dave Canales anyways. But I think we're happy about that. I think Washington Commanders, they were the front runners to have the, off-season winners, off-season MVPs, but now it's not looking that way. Where'd you get that hat from? Myrtle Beach Lids outlet last year. They don't really advertise it much. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of A-frames now that doesn't have the crease here. That would have been pretty sweet, but yeah. These. Zach. So that's my initial thoughts on watching this press conference. Let me know what you guys think. If you're watching this on repeat, what you guys think of the press conference. I thought Dave Canales, he can talk, but so can Matt Rule. Matt Rule could definitely talk and did not follow up with as many wins as we like. Still more wins than Frank Reich. So winning solves everything, because this spiel, the talking about, 20 years of marriage, 14 years with the Seattle Seahawks, I love Pete Carroll, all that fired up, fun stuff, charisma, is going to fall flat if you don't win. You don't have to win 12 games in your first year, but all I think Panther fans want to see is progression from Bryce Young. I think if they had a game like the Green Bay game every week and you lose 50% of them, I think people will be happy. I think people will be happy if you showed the kind of offensive fortitude against the Green Bay Packers next year and win 50%. I think people will be happy. Okay, Denny says, looks like we're getting a staff that has a relationship already instead of a mixed coach. You're right. Now, they talk about why do all-star games suck in the NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB? Because these guys have no chemistry. It sucks. It's not fun to watch. It's not competitive. They don't get each other. And, that's what they got with coaches. Maybe if you gave them 5 years uninterrupted, maybe things will work out, but they're all coming from different schools of thought. And it's all too much. It looks good on paper. Obviously, it's going to look good on paper if you have, Cam Newton at quarterback, Jonathan Stewart at running back, Christian McCaffrey at running back. Okay, they're all on the same team. And then you get, I don't know, Ray Lewis as linebacker. And then you get Brian Urlacher as linebacker. Then you get Stephon Gilmore, Patriots version at corner. They're not all going to see the same thing. They're all coming from a different place. They're not all going to jive as well. And the same thing goes with coaches. This one, at least, you got two guys who work together in Seattle. You got Brent Tills, who's really the outsider here, because a lot of the assistant coaches are coming from Tampa or Seattle. The only guy on the outside is Brent Tills, and that's probably a good thing, because he's coming from a place where at least they're perennial winners. They went to their 6th straight AFC Championship game, and they're going to their back-to-back Super Bowl, potentially trying to get their third Super Bowl under him and Patrick Mahomes. Would you rather draft O-linemen, get free agents, or just both? I'd like free agents on the interior offensive line. Maybe move Icky to guard. Pick up another offensive lineman on the inside. Maybe for center, Bradley Bozeman. Maybe draft a guard. Maybe find a free agent left tackle who is formidable. Like to draft wide receivers. I would almost want to double dip at wide receiver in the draft, but that's just me. I'll be doing mock draft Sundays. But first I got to learn more about these players, and we're going to have a guest coming up who's going to inform me more about these guys who do this for a living. Like, I could watch the All-22, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And somebody's like, no, that's not good. So, going to be talking to experts about the wide receivers and the offensive linemen that we're going to be looking at in the draft. But let me know what you guys think, guys, who are watching this a little bit later. Let me know what you thought about the press conference. Let me know, are you as fired up as Dave Canales? I think I might be a little bit. Talk to you guys soon.